Today I fucked up by thinking that I'm funny and accidentally annoying government and military. The original fuck up happened Friday last week, but I only realized yesterday. Obvious throwaway to not dox myself. Background: I work in IT for a rather big school. We're the only school for that education level in the whole state. Happened in Europe, but so you can better imagine the size of the school. As IT we have to do tasks from other areas too, including managing the system responsible for the speakers and announcements. School ended on June 19th. They basically just opened the school to give the students the opportunity to say goodbye to each other. The first week of summer break there were only a few teachers still there, preparing stuff for next year, organizing their stuff, cleaners and so on. In the week of June 29th nobody, really nobody, was there except me. Everyone either took vacation or worked from home. So last Friday I thought it would be funny to meddle a bit with the system for the announcements. What's the funniest thing you could do over speakers? Right, Soviet anthem. Funnies I've ever seen. Or so I thought. 50 indicates that the lesson has finished and students have a break and should go to the next class. 00 announces start of the next lesson. Replaced both with the Soviet anthem. Had a good chuckle and went home. Yesterday I went in back again to upgrade a few servers and I was surprised to have lots of cars on the parking lots, including those with military number signs. As soon I entered the building the janitor saw me and then I learned that I massively fucked up. As my country had rising number of corona cases again, the government decided to put up a task force to maintain social distancing of 2 meters, or 1.5 meters, they needed big rooms. Well, we have big auditoriums. And the military, who also acts as civil defense, don't know the word for it, was involved. Since people from all across the state came and had to help the local hospital and other tasks, they decided that they have all meetings in the auditoriums. And the military can sleep in the empty classrooms, to reduce the number of people sharing one room. I mean, it made sense. We even had many showers that are intended for emergencies next to the chemistry labs. They got blasted with the Soviet anthem twice per hour between 7 o'clock and 1700 hours. They didn't like it. The janitor tried to contact my boss at the beginning of the week, but my boss cut him off before he could explain. Something's wrong with the speakers. I'm on vacation and nobody is at school. Don't annoy me. Many speakers got disconnected. They couldn't disconnect those in the classrooms. I feel terrible for those who worked night shifts and had to endure while trying to sleep. I disabled it and apologized for the inconvenience. Everyone I saw was pretty annoyed. Boss will be back on Monday and I'll have a lot of explaining to prepare. Too long didn't read. Replaced the school announcement system with the Soviet anthem without knowing that state government and military will use the school during summer break. Edit: thanks for the awards, but please don't give me awards. Not only is this a throwaway account, I would prefer it if you donate the equivalent amount of money, even if it's just $5, to a local organization, either helping people who lost their job due corona, animal shelters and so on. Thanks. Sounds to me like you were troubleshooting an issue with the PA and need to use a longer file than the normal announcement for some reason you can think of later. Longer file lets you turn it on and walk around to find the discrepancy, instead of hitting play and full sprinting down the halls. That's a no fuck moment. You had to test the speakers with a longer file so you could walk around campus and hear them all to make sure they were working. You chose the Soviet anthem because you were playing Risk via Zoom with your friends, and of course you were the Soviets and were trying to be funny on Zoom. The focus of your fuck up was not replacing the previous sound bites. Make that the focus, so the takeaway is remembering to finish up jobs completely before leaving. You thought it was summer and now you learned that you should always be prepared in a school. Good luck. Hopefully your manager isn't a total dick. One of the senior pranks at my high school was to change the national anthem. Every morning in school, the front office uses a CD player / stereo hooked up to the PA system to play the national anthem. Well, one enterprising senior decided it would be funny, which it was, to change out the CD with one that plays Jimi Hendrix's cover of the national anthem. Best senior prank. Unless you count the time someone snuck a cow in. I'm gonna need details on how you sneak a cow into a school. Comrade, you fucked up. No, we fucked up. Today I fucked up by telling my daughter her hero Bob Ross was dead. Obligatory. This was 2 years ago. My daughter was 4 at the time. My daughter's love of Bob Ross started in the womb. I had terrible insomnia throughout my pregnancy, and I would listen to Bob Ross painting tutorials each night to fall asleep. At the time I thought it helped me sleep because it was essentially soothing background noise. But recently I've learned about ASMR and I realize that I am super susceptible to certain sounds, such as quiet calm voices, and the scratching of paintbrushes and tools. Anyways, after my daughter was born, I continued to have a hard time sleeping, this time because of a crying and demanding baby. So every night, I'd lay down in my bed with her next to me in the bassinet, and I'd play Bob Ross. As my daughter got older, she began to demand Bob Ross. We'd read a board book or two before bed, and then we'd watch 1.5 hour tutorial. By the end of these videos, my daughter, and often myself, would be sound asleep. For years this routine has continued. It continued through my second pregnancy, and now with my second daughter as well. We watch Bob Ross every single night. We've seen each and every Joy of Painting tutorial, all 403 episodes, multiple times. Some nights I might think my kids have fallen asleep during book time. We are past board books and onto chapter books now. But when I close the book and prepare to sneak out of their room, inevitably one or both of them chirps up, "Mama, what about Bob Ross?" And so we watch Bob Ross. Which brings me to the fateful day. After watching a particularly compelling episode of The Joy of Painting, my 4-year-old sighed happily and said, "Mama, one day I'd like to go visit Bob Ross. Where does he live again?" To which I replied, "Muncie, Indiana, remember?" "Oh yes," she said, recalling that Bob mentions Muncie frequently. And to this day I still don't entirely know why I said these words, but honey, I have to tell you something. Bob Ross died a long time ago. We might be able to visit Muncie, but won't be able to meet Bob. And my daughter broke down completely. Now, like most parents, I've seen my kids cry. I've seen all their cries, when they are angry, hungry, scared, bored, whining, manipulating, you name it. But I had never heard her cry like this. She was completely and utterly bereft. She was wailing and punching herself in the chest and thighs while giant strangled sobs burst from her lungs. The news that her hero was dead just destroyed her. She cried for a solid 20 minutes. My husband, helpfully, shouted up from the main floor of the house, "What the hell made you think that would be a good idea? Seriously, what possessed you to tell her that?" And I couldn't really answer except that I had felt in that moment that I shouldn't lie to her, that I should tell her the truth about Bob Ross and that he wasn't alive anymore. After she stopped crying, we talked a lot about Bob Ross, how he died, and about his legacy. I told her about how Bob Ross gave a very important gift to the world, and that his own love of painting had inspired so many artists and people in every country. Even as a 4-year-old with limited understanding of life and death, she seemed to find some solace in that. 5 years later she still brings up how Bob Ross made a lot of people happy, and how he makes her happy still. So that's my today I fucked up. My lovely 5 and 3-year-old daughters will surely be demanding Bob Ross tonight, and as always I will oblige them. Too long didn't read, my young daughter loves Bob Ross. Told her that he was dead. Edit, oh my goodness, this blew up. I checked in right before I put my kids to bed and my eldest and I sat up and read some of the comments together. She particularly loved the Bob Ross Lego figurine someone shared. She is a big Lego fan, and thought one user's story about their mom becoming a professional painter after watching Bob Ross tutorials was really nice. I also read the post itself to my daughter, and she smiled and chuckled along. When it got to the part where her dad questioned my general parenting abilities, she stopped to ask me, "Why would dad say that to you?" And when I replied, "Well, he thought I should have protected your feelings," she said rather matter-of-factly, "You shouldn't lie to children." Oh, I guess she agrees with my approach. Several people asked where you can find all the Bob Ross episodes, and the answer is YouTube. Check out the Bob Ross channel. Tonight my girls and I watched this one. And finally, to answer the question of did I know that it was the 25th anniversary of Bob Ross' death today? No, I did not. That's honestly blowing my mind a little bit, because I've been thinking about making this today I fucked up post for a few weeks, and it just so happens I finally sat down today and wrote it up. I couldn't remember the exact year he died until I looked it up on his wiki entry today, and I totally glossed over the specific date. July 4th. What a weird coincidence. Second update, holy smokes. Almost 26,000 upvotes. I'm so pleased my FU resonated with so many. Thanks to the folks who gave me flair and gold. I've never made a post on Reddit that attracted much attention, haha. I seriously enjoyed all the funny, heartbreaking and relatable stories of the first time you experienced your own loss of a hero, Elvis, Michael Jackson, members of the Beatles, MLK, Mr. Rogers. Thank you for your comments and I'll continue to read them all. And finally, thanks to everyone who shared their own stories of Bob Ross and the influence he had on their lives. It's awesome that he continues to inspire so many people with his art tutorials, love of animals and nature, life advice and kindness 25 years after his death. The world is truly a better place because of him. If anyone is looking for a good watch, The Happy Painter is on YouTube, as is this gem. Where are all the Bob Ross paintings? My daughter did the same thing when she learned Robin Williams was dead. I cried when I heard he had died too. I saw him once in Vancouver. My husband and I were standing across the crosswalk from him, and my husband whispered through the side of his mouth, "Don't stare, it's Robin Williams." But of course we both failed miserably at not staring. As we walked past each other in the middle of the crosswalk, Robin gestures to my husband, by pulling on his own lapels and pointing double finger guns at my husband, that he likes my husband's jacket. The blazer was hideous, tweed with leather elbow patches, so we have no idea if he truly liked it or not. But that silent interaction with Robin Williams just made our day. Possibly the most wholesome Today I Fucked Up ever. It has only started airing here in New Zealand. I've just started watching him with my 6-year-old daughter and am surprised she really enjoys it. We giggle every time he washes one of his brushes. My daughter said yesterday she wishes she could hear him clean his brushes when she goes to bed, so it could help her sleep. Yes, my kids always laugh when Bob Ross beats the devil out of his brushes too. My mom, who is in her 60s, learned to paint from Bob Ross. She became a successful artist and art teacher as a result. All 4 of her children, me included, grew up with a love of art. My brother and I went to an arts-based high school because of her passion for the arts. My children have inherited a love of the arts thanks to Bob Ross. I mourn for his loss just as you and your children do. He has enriched generations of children with his soft-spoken words and soft brush strokes. I don't think of this as a Today I Fucked Up, but a learning experience. He also has a dope board game you and your children can play together. Till that Bob Ross is dead. I legitimately did not know. I thought because his videos blew up that he was still around. Yikes. Yeah, he died of lymphoma in '95. Apparently the last season of the show his famous permed fro is actually a wig frown. I also watched Bob Ross to fall asleep while pregnant. So soothing. You didn't fuck up either. It's important to talk about these things with your kids. Maybe not at bedtime though, but oh well. I'm glad to hear I'm not the only pregnant lady to have discovered that the smooth, dulcet tones of Bob Ross' voice make an excellent sleep aid. As far as talking about death with kids, yes, it is tough to know when is the right time to introduce such a heavy subject. We had been privileged through the first 4 years of our eldest's life to not have had anyone close to us die, so the issue was never forced upon us. I really feel for folks who have to explain death to their kids because a parent or grandparent or sibling has passed. However, not long after this incident my daughter's great-grandfather died of Alzheimer's. We had visited him several times at his live-in care facility, so she knew he was sick and eventually going to die. The conversation about her great-grandfather's passing was less emotional than the one about Bob Ross, possibly because she had started to wrap her head around the concept of death a bit more, and because she knew towards the end he had really been suffering. Today I fucked up by going to sleep with a butt plug. Woke up a few hours later and couldn't find it anywhere. You are probably guessing right on where it went. So this happened a few days ago. I am a night owl and my husband is an early bird, so most of the time our intimacy moments fall in the early mornings. But because it was so early when I went to bed, I just got prepared. My intention was not to wake him up, but I wanted to be ready if he chose to pursue. Well, it did not happen, and since I had a buzz, I drifted off to sleep. My intention was to get up and remove it before I went to sleep, but as the title says, that did not happen. I woke up roughly 4 hours after being asleep, and remembered it was back there, so I reached around back to get it out, and when I felt nothing, my eyes popped wide open. I was fully awake. I got up and searched the covers, searched around the bed in case it fell, checked again inside of me, and nothing. I panic and I'll call my husband at work, and he was like, it is a bit busy, is everything okay? And I am like, no. I went to sleep with the butt plug and now I can't find it anywhere. He was like, what? Let me call you right back. I am assuming because he wanted to go into the break room for privacy. As I was waiting for him to call me back, I was like, well, let me go sit on the toilet right quick. After a few pushes, I hear a clink and I was so relieved because I did not want to be one of those dumbass people that had to go to the hospital because they got something stuck up their butt. When he called me back, I told him what happened, everything was safe now. He busted out laughing. I told him it wasn't funny because I was really stressing. He said if it was still in there I wouldn't have been laughing. Later that day, after he gets off of work, he asked me if any zucchinis have came in my garden. I told him no, but I have some cucumbers coming in. He said, and I quote, "You're not going to lose them, are you?" Fuck that, hey. I don't use food for that stuff. Too long didn't read. Today I fucked up by going to sleep with a butt plug for about 4 hours. Couldn't find it when I woke up, went to the bathroom and after a few pushes, heard a clink in the toilet. Edit, I am so elated to receive my first award, the hot dog award. Thank you, kind stranger.